All right, everyone, we will go ahead and get started. We'd like to welcome Captain Jim Furyk and the victorious United States President's Cup team here at Royal Montreal. Jim, we'll just start with you with just a few opening comments on what the week has been like here and getting to spend time with these guys and your assistants, and if you could just summarize the final day here at Royal Montreal.
I mean, the whole week's been so much fun. I've always enjoyed team events. I had the opportunity to play in a number of them. The camaraderie, the teamwork, bus rides, team room. I mean, obviously the competition's amazing, but I just love hanging with the guys and being part of a big group and having a common bond and trying to come together to to do something special. And so, I guess first and foremost, our support staff from the PGA Tour, led by Matt Horton, amazing. We had 9 folks from the tour that were just, giving us all their time for the months and months and months leading up to this. They did a great job. I know every one of us would, want to really thank our wives and significant others for all the support. And it's a nervous week, man, and so to have them by your side really means a lot. Our caddies were flat amazing this week. I mean, so much fun. And really for me, I mean, my 4 assistants really stepped up. Stuart had a little experience as an assistant captain last year. The other 3 guys, this is their first time in that position, and they were absolutely amazing. The help, the information on the golf course when they had advice. I think just the communication with the players was incredible. I was blessed. And honestly, these 12, I'm so proud to be their captain. And they were, they were a captain's dream. I mean, these guys get along so well, but as you know, they can flat play. And they kicked a lot of ass out there. And when it got tough, anytime the internationals put some pressure on us, they played their asses off for us. And just so proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, Jim. We'll go right into questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. We're just going to start with Paul over here.
Keegan, just wanted to know what this week has been like you for as a whole, finally getting back on one of these teams and then being the person that was able to secure the final point or the clinching point.
Yeah, I told the boys last night it's been a decade. It's taken me a decade to get back into that room with these guys, and I really took for granted how special these weeks were. I watched a lot of these things on TV and was really sad to not be here. And we talked about taking care of business today, and we all went out there and did it. I was just lucky enough to be in that spot in the day, but really a meaningful moment in my life. The last time I played in one of these, I was the clinching point for the Europeans in the Ryder Cup. So, fast forward 10 years later, and I got to do that today. Really something that I'll remember the rest of my life.
All right, next we'll go to Doug Ferguson. Yeah, right there's perfect, and then over to Doug. Yep.
For Xander, I'm just wondering how much you relish. Sorry, go ahead and drink as long as you want. How much you relish being in that leadoff spot this morning?
Yeah, it was an honor. I was having dinner last night, and Cap came up to me and asked if I'd be cool with going out first. And you look down this row of guys, and it could be any one of us that's going to lead the charge. And I took it as a special opportunity to do something great. And I wanted to get some red up on the board early for the boys to look at, and was able to do that today.
All right, next we'll go back to Doug.
That was great.
Shane.
Interesting.
Yep, go ahead, Shane.
Keegan, obviously in your position as Ryder Cup captain, you kind of probably have an eye on certain things. You had one player who finished 6th overall in strokes gained, made a big putt on 18 on Thursday, and then today took out statistically the best player on the international team in singles. So question is, what did Keegan Bradley show you as a potential Ryder Cup player?
I learned a lot from Jim and Tabitha this week. It was the best job I've ever seen done as captain and the captain's wife. I learned a lot from them. You know, I would love to join these guys and play next year. I don't know how that would ever be possible, but seeing what Jim did, seeing how nervous I was today to play, but you know, I'm going to push that down the road. Like I've said, if I make the team on points, I'll consider playing, but outside of that, I won't do that because this is really important to me next year. I don't care about my personal gains of, you know, playing in the tournament. I only care about winning the Ryder Cup, and I think the best way to do that is to let these boys play and let them do what they do. But we'll see. I don't see it happening, but we'll see.
Someone probably asked you this already, but does being captain of a Ryder Cup let you open your bag?
Open my bag? Not yet. We got, hopefully, yeah, we got a year to go here, and these boys know how important this Ryder Cup is in a year. I think it's arguably one of the most important Ryder Cups that the United States has ever had. So we're going to go in there ready to play, and we're going to go there to win the Ryder Cup. And I'm going to take a lot of lessons that I learned from Jim, Tabitha, all the vice captains, and apply that to next year's team.
All right, next we're going to go to Nick, Dylan, and then Sean.
This question is for Xander. Hi. I noticed that Tom Kim, after his match today, found you on the 18th green, and he said some words. Could you share what he shared with you, what he talked about?
Oh, I mean, it was in private. You know, if he wants to reveal what he said, that's up to him. He just, you know, had a few words with Cap and I, and you know, it was honestly in private. So if you'd like to ask him about what was said, that, you know, it's on him to say, because he's the one that came up to us. But I don't feel like it's on me or anyone up here to you know, disclose what he said.
All right, Dylan, go ahead.
For Scotty. Scotty, when you won your match last night, that was you were pretty fired up. You're about as fired up a couple times this week as we ever really see you. And I was just curious why that is.
You know, I think these weeks are a lot of fun. You know, it's pretty rare that we get to play with these guys on my team. You know, usually every week of the year we're playing by ourselves, and so it's a lot of fun. You know, this is one of the great joys of my career, is coming out here in these team events and playing. And you know, I had some great partners this week. You know, Russell and I played great together, and Colin and I won a nice match there Saturday morning. And you know, it was just one of those matches where I felt like I was letting my partner down early in the match, and you know, he picked me up there on 6, gave me a nice little pep talk, and we were able to play some great golf. And you know, I was just proud to earn a point for the team, and it felt like an important one at the time, just to you know, get a point late on Saturday. And you know, I think Russ and I were just both really excited. I think we're both guys that usually keep a pretty even keel attitude on the golf course most weeks, and you know, I think Russell's one of the most underrated players on our tour, and so it was fun to go out there and earn a point with him. And see,
Yeah, Scotty.
boo, boo.
What did you learn about Russ this week, and what's he like? How would you describe him?
You know, Russ is a tough guy. He's a tough competitor, and it's not easy playing as a rookie on these teams, and he stepped up in a big way. And you know, I'm really proud to have him as my partner, and really proud to have him as a part of this team. You know, he was one of the guys that, when we were looking at the picks towards the time the playoffs were starting, he was a guy that we all wanted on the team. He was one of our locks to be picked, and you know, he proved why this week, and he's a really talented player. And you know, I'm excited for him to be a future part of these teams as well.
All right, we're going to go to Sean, Doug, and then Adam.
Xander, Patrick, or Colin, Jim gave a lot of credit to you guys as kind of player leaders for setting the stage on Friday night and keeping everyone calm after the sweep. Can you give some insight into what was said, the message that was delivered after being swept on Friday that helped you play well Saturday?
Pat's looking at me already. Pat's, I think Colin and I, we probably, you know, err on the side of leading by example. Colin's very stoic, very calm. So is Pat. I like to needle everybody in the room. You know, I didn't grow up playing team sports, so it's important, I think, for a team to be cohesive and to get along and to laugh, at least in my eyes. And you saw what PC did. You know, pretty much about this time right now, maybe a little less light outside. So PC leads by example, and you know, he was able to sort of spark a very important thing for us coming into today, which was make that putt on the last hole. So Cap, you know, he talked to each and every one of us every night, and he always believes in us. So it gave us a lot of confidence going into today.
And Jim, you talked about the buy-in from sort of your players. How much more flexibility did that give you in setting pairings than maybe in years past? That there was buy-in that they would do what was needed to play with who they needed to?
I think we just tried to vet it early. Again, these teams come together. I keep saying it so fast. I mean, you know, by the time the team was chosen, we had 21 days to get ready. So trying to get pairings together and get ready to come in here is difficult. So I think we tried to get ahead of that. You know, when the picks were made, kind of the pairings were already kind of in place. I vetted that with a lot of the players, with our assistants, with our statistical team. You know, I tried to get that in place a little earlier than I did, say, back in 2018. And in that way, if things didn't work or didn't gel, not from a personality standpoint, but maybe just seeing the golf course, we had some options. But these guys, like I said, they were so easy to work with, and the best 12 guys that I could have ever, you know, imagined. Could have paired them up a million different ways. I think that was the hardest part, to be honest with you, that they got along so well, the personalities gelled so well, so many good players on this team, 12 of them, that there was probably a million different ways we could have mixed and matched them, and that was probably the most difficult thing. And I haven't always had that in the past, to be honest with you. So that was probably my biggest concern was, are we doing the right thing? Are we playing the right guys? Because I could have done it a number of different ways.
All right, we're going to go to Todd real quick and then over to Doug.
Sahith and Russell. Want to ask you guys as first timers to give some insight into kind of the camaraderie of this team and the vibe of it, and also, was it more lighthearted at times than you guys would have expected walking into a team room at a big team event?
Yeah, I think as rookies, a thing that was touched on earlier in the week is just we're always competing against each other, and this is our first time competing with each other, and it's a totally different feeling. You always want to beat these guys that we play with, and this was one of the weeks where you're trying to hold them up and beat the other guys with your teammates. But I will say that, you know, the team did such a good job of welcoming me. I think Russ could say the same thing, but just hyping us up, making us feel like we've been doing this forever. I think it's safe to say we've made some brothers for life, and regardless of the golf, really, it's just off the course. I felt so welcomed, and you know, such a part of a team. And as golf, it gets lonely. And I understand why these team events are held on such a pedestal. There's nothing else like it, and it exceeded my expectations. I had really high hopes. You know, all you kind of hear about the biggest events in golf, the Ryder and the President's Cup, and you know, I know the Ryder Cup is a different beast as well. But these team events are just now that I've played one, I can say they're just the best. I'll let Russ take it from here, but I mean, it's a week I'm never going to forget, and I wouldn't say I expected the lightheartedness. I know some of these guys are jokesters, even though they don't really show it on the outside. So it wasn't obvious up here, but I loved it, man. It was such a great group of guys and great group of personalities. Yeah, it was just the best.
Why is that?
There's our Mongolian.
Careful. You're making nervous.
That was Freddie Couples' thing, dude.
Russell, anything else from a comical standpoint? Anything else from your point of view, from all the fun that you guys have had?
I don't have too much to add. You know, pretty much the same to what Sa said. I had kids in my ear all week, and it was nice to have kids just hanging with me and on the course. He's had a lot of funny jokes, but the team room the aspect was amazing. I feel already like I'm a lot closer to these guys, even though I've been playing golf against them for a while, and it's just cool because these guys are a big reason of why I've gotten better at this game. I've tried to figure out, okay, what does Pat do well with his putting stroke? What does Colin do well with his driver? What does Scotty do well with his irons? You know, whatever, you know, these guys do well, I try to see what they're doing and try to get better. And so it's cool to team up with them, and I've been extremely excited and definitely, like Sasa, exceeded my expectations. So dream come true week for me.
All right, we're going to go to Doug Ferguson.
Russell, wanted to follow up a little bit on that, all the way in the back, sorry. You've been on tour for 12 years as a really good player. I'm just curious how often you watched the Cups and pictured yourself in the uniform, wondered how you could contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I never knew if I'd make a team. I definitely have worked really hard the last 5 or 6 years towards pretty much every part of my game, tried to put a big step forward to everything I'm doing in hopes that I can make a team. And so that whole time I never knew if it would happen, but to finally get the call is pretty cool. And I wish I would have made a bunch before this year, but for some reason it just seems even more special that I made one this late, because I haven't really taken it for granted at all. It's been awesome.
And Jim, I ran this by Ernie as well, since you were on that 98 team in Melbourne that got shellacked, and then you guys beat him even worse. Next time, go to South Africa for the tie, and 05 comes down to the last putt. What have you seen since then, starting here in Montreal in 07, that has made it so one-sided than it was during that 4-year stretch? I know there's been some close matches, Korea and Melbourne, what have you. But what's the change from then to what it's been lately?
I don't know if I could, Doug, put my finger on it. I mean, I go back to just this week, and Thursday, that 5-0 was 5 tight matches. We just happened to win all of them. Friday was not that same tale of the tape. I mean, we had 3 pretty lopsided losses, a couple tight ones. But really, the matches come down to just some special moments. And for one reason or another, these guys usually play loose in the President's Cup. They let it fly. And we've been able to win some crucial points, make some crucial putts. Pat's last night we're walking up the fairway. We can go in there with a 2, 3, or 4 point lead. We end up with a 4-point lead. I mean, those little moments make massive differences in the score, and each and every one of these guys made a big difference in that score somewhere along the way, and drug matches to 18 and just kept fighting and clawing. And I mean, the back 9 really was a big deal for us this week, and I talked about a little in the team room, trying not to put pressure on the last holes, but really wanted these guys to own it and enjoy it and kind of thrive in that pressure. And really, I've been asked, every one of you in this room asked me for the last year how much pressure I felt trying to keep this streak alive and keep this team going. And I kept denying it, that I didn't feel any pressure, and I didn't want them to feel that pressure. I wanted them to apply the pressure to the other team, and I really feel like down the stretch, these guys kept the pressure on the other team and came out with points.
All right, we're going to go to Adam Schupak next.
Jim, that was kind of my question, Jim, because now that you've won, the next captain is going to face that same pressure. What was the hardest part of it for you?
Jim, you won't say it right now.
Actually, I don't know. I know it's funny, but I'm lost in the joke, to be honest with you. I'm curious what he said. Hold on. What did you say again? Because I'm lost now.
Well, hey, Cap, just remember, what did he ask you about a week ago? I can't remember either. It's weird.
Oh yeah. He's talking about our fun exchange in Napa. So, for the record, yeah, now I get For the record, I was never angry with Adam. I did say that, without a doubt. But we got a chuckle out of it. Adam and I were always good. We've texted a lot since. Yeah, I was a little surprised you were rooting for the other team. You have to stand there now and look at all these guys. It's kind of fun.
I never said I was rooting for the other team.
You said you were pulling for the other team to win.
No, I didn't.
What did you say?
I said, don't hate me, but it wouldn't be the worst. I wouldn't hate it if the other team won.
Wrong. My favorite part was after the. My favorite part.
Questions for you, kids.
My favorite part of it was when, after the first presser, when we came in, we did our pairings, and we walked out. I actually gave you a little fist bump, and two of my assistants taught you to go after yourself. That was my favorite. That was my favorite.
They wanted to do that a long time. Kids, I'm pretty sure Homa hooped one, and I was writing, but have you paid off your bet?
Yeah, we saw it.
I think you should ask him.
He did. All right, we're gonna go over to Steve here in the back.
You might get him to do it again here at the presser.
You don't want it.
I got you.
I have a question for Xander. Year 2022 and this year, international team had 4 Korean players and they won 6 points each tournament. And you played a lot of important matches against them. What do you think they have that makes it tough to play against, or to be able to pull through and make such good results?
They bring the fire to that team. You know, I know we're in Canada, and there was a few Canadians on that team, and they were getting rooting on by their crowds, but Siwoo, Tom, Ben, Sungjae. Sungjae is probably the tamest of them all. But we look at him as an assassin in his own right. He hits it so dang straight. And then Tom and Siwoo together. I mean, those boys. This course might be, 7,000 yards, but those boys cover about 9,000 yards in a round of golf. At least the ones that I played against them. They hit unbelievable shots. PC and I saw it. They were very hard. PC and I had to bring out some of our best stuff to beat them last night. It came out to the last hole, and it's really good for golf. It's, as a competitor, I respect it. It's not how I go about my business, but I respect it because that's how they play. And if I was running around and getting fired up, I might make bogey in the next hole, but those boys are running around and birding every freaking hole on us, and it is, I have a lot of respect for everyone on that team, but the Koreans definitely bring the heat, no doubt.
All right, guys, we only have time for a few more, so we're going to start over here with Bob, and then James and Daniel.
I have a question for Scotty. When Adam Scott was in here earlier, he noted or mentioned how he thought that these events are really good for people's personal careers. He thought that it might be a boost to some of their guys, having been in this environment, 18th hole, the pressure of watching their teammates and all. And he specifically referenced you in 2021 at Whistling Straits. And I just wondered what you thought about that, if there is some truth to that, if you used that experience and it propelled you into the run you've been on, or is that just coincidence, or how much it might have really helped you?
No, I think there's definitely an aspect to that. I think looking back at that Ryder Cup, one of the coolest things was just getting the vote of the guys to want me to be a part of that team. That really meant a lot to me. I think of the guys that Captain Jim picked this week, and we were very confident in our captain's picks, and I definitely look back on that moment in my career as something that kind of propelled me. These are the events I think where you feel the most pressure, because not only do you want to perform for yourself, but you want to perform for your teammates, your partner that day, and your country. And so I think this is where the lights are the brightest, and these are the events we look forward to the most. And performing like some of these guys perform this week under the biggest lights, I think is great for their careers. Especially, I think of like Russell, coming out here and performing the way he did this week is really special. And I think that there's definitely an aspect to that.
All right, we're going to go over here to James.
Max, I was wondering how long after you hooped that shot did you first think about Kevin paying on his bet?
I mean, like half a second, second and a half. I looked back and he was scampering down 9 fairway, trying to run away from me. I think he left me a good 4 minutes before that. I don't blame him, but yeah, I mean, it was obviously on my mind the whole week. It was. I basically had three check marks this week. One was to win the President's Cup with these boys. 2 was to have a great time, and 3 to get kids to take his shirt off. So I went 3 for 3.
All right, last 2 here. Gabby and Daniel to finish. Thank you.
Anyone can answer this. What are the party plans for the evening?
Kids, no. Tony P now. Where you be now?
In the wise words of Travis Kelce, you gotta fight for your right to party. Only time will tell.
Should end on that. Go ahead, Daniel.
Question for Jim. Just here. I was wondering, because a lot of these matches were much more tight than the final score would suggest. How much do you think that the fact that you guys had a lot more PGA Tour victories and much more major titles too could have made the difference when these matches were tight, especially this weekend?
Well, again, I give the other team a lot of credit for the fight, but I'd go to battle with these 12 guys anytime. Very tough, strong-minded, unflappable, don't get frazzled. I mean, the fans out there brought it pretty good. I mean, they gave us some crap. There's no doubt. These guys kind of used it to their advantage. And I said, very strong-willed and closed out matches. And I think that's what you're looking for. I knew coming to a foreign land and coming to an away game, the Montreal fans, the Canadian fans are good sports fans. And so I knew they would bring it, and I knew these guys could handle that.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for the time. Congratulations once again.